So today we're going to be rating all the r/PvZ heroes database decks, and we're going to be placing them in 4 different tiers: Tier 1, High Tier 2, Low Tier 2, and Tier 3. So the idea I'm going to be doing is that basically I'm going to be rating all the decks from the best to the worst. So basically I'm going to be like putting the best deck first and then all the way down to the worst deck in the database, and that's going to be like based on my subjective opinion plus a little bit of the objective fact from the statistics of ELO ladder games, and that's the basic idea. So the decks that will be excluded are these decks. These are not even DB decks anymore. I don't know why these decks are in this tier list. I'll ask turn one. That's duplicates. This duplicate Barrelster because I got another Barrelster here anyways. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, yeah, this tier list is gonna be very based. This tier list is gonna be very, very based, and it's gonna be very, very subjective. So now let's just start with the best deck in the game, in my opinion. And of course, everyone knows that in the chat already. Just spam it right now if you know what deck I'm talking about the best deck in the game, in my opinion. I think most of my viewers already know what I think the best deck in the game is. What I think the best deck in the game is, and that of course, obviously, is Teleimps. This is definitely the best deck in the game, in my opinion. Not what they think, but this is, in my opinion, the best deck in the game. The reason why I think Teleimps is the best deck in the game is because it's so versatile, and any good Teleimps player will be able to beat any single matchup, and there's no bad matchup to Teleimps. Against the mid-rows, it's still just a 60-40 matchup for rows in the favor, and actually, statistically speaking, mid-rows actually has an unfavorable matchup against Teleimps. I don't know why, but that appears to be the case, and that's shown in the deck, statistics on ELO ladder, and it's very, very interesting. And this deck is just so good. It's so hard to lose with Teleimps. It's so good against ladder. It's so good against DB. Like against ladder, they're just gonna be, I'm just gonna play playing control. No, and then you just do, if they play playing control, you just go blob combo, and you're just gonna finish them off very, very quickly. It's so good. Like you got Cowboy, you got very, very high quality cards in the deck. It's overall probably the best deck in the game, in my opinion, and it will go into the I think it's the best deck in the game, and there you go. So the second best deck in the game, in my opinion, is Barrel Pirates. So the reason why I'm saying Barrel Pirates is the second best deck in the game is because the Barrel Pirates is actually so freaking strong. Like any average Barrel Pirates hand would just win because their aggression is so strong. And Flameface is so unfair with Barrel Deathbeers, 4 Fruitcakes, 4 Bungees. The whole deck is just S tier cards that combined, and then you just put it all together in one deck. That's all. That's a summary of Barrel Pirates. You just stick a bunch of S tier cards together, and then you get the stat. I don't even need to explain why Barrel Pirates is like the second best deck in the game. Like, I mean, it's definitely the second best deck in the game. Insanely powerful. Insanely powerful. Now, the next deck I'm going to put on tier 1 is going to be Garg Midburn. So this is basically Garg Mech. In my opinion, why I'm saying Garg Mech is not as good as other people say, because people usually say Garg Mech is number 1, Barrel Pirates is number 2, and the Teleimps is number 3. But I say Teleimps is number 1, Barrel Pirates is number 2, and Garg Burn is number 3. I'm going to give the explanation once and for all why I think Garg Mech is not the best deck in the game. First of all, Garg Mech actually has, in terms of ELO ladder, I actually didn't make this disclaimer, but because of Garg Mech, because I'm rating these decks in terms of how well they do on ELO, majority, okay, majorly. That's what I'm basing these decks out of, in my opinion, because that's where I play it there the most. And so, why I'm putting it in the third best deck in the game, not the best deck in the game. Listen, Garg Mech loses to itself more than Teleimps, more than Barrel Pirates, because of the kind of cards they're running. One of the biggest problems with Garg Mech I've found, like, in the longest time, is that you just, like, if you start off with start good aggression hand, like a Grey Robber plus a Richard Simmons, and you got Fruitcake, and then you have like a something else, like if you just top deck a Garg in the middle of that, it's just so frustrating. It's just so frustrating when you just top deck a freaking Gas Giant when you have a whole hand of aggro, and it's gonna break your hand for like 5 turns because you're not gonna draw a Gargologist. And it's just so frustrating because it's just kind of dumb, because like you have 4 final missions in the deck as well. Like once you triple draw final mission with Garg Mech, you're done. You're basically lost the game already because you drew triple final mission. And like it's just countered by Barton, it's countered by so many things in Elo, like red, and people only take against Garg Mech, which makes it so bad they compare it to other decks. And tier 1 decks, I'm saying, it's not a bad deck because people only, like you got these people on Elo just only taking against Garg Mech by, like, using heal, they're using Barton, like, using red, like, every single person's, like, using a freaking Garg Mech counter, just makes it not as good. It's just so annoying. It is so annoying because the Garg Mech, like, the luck factor of Garg Mech is, like, it's very high rolly as well, because, like, you're relying on drawing a lot of counters, like, not the counters, but you're relying to draw a reliable combo, like Barrel Mission, Gargologist plus another Garg, and it's just, like, it's just a little bit too high rolly for me, and it's not reliable enough, in my opinion, because it's, like, you know, it's too situational, and, like, I think Teleimps and Barrel Pipers is better. I'm not saying Garg Mech is a bad deck. Listen, I'm not saying Garg Mech is a bad deck. I'm just saying it's overrated, not that it's bad. You have to listen, okay? And all these people in, like, RCCH are like, no, you're saying Garg Mech is a bad deck. No, I'm not saying Garg Mech is a bad deck, okay? Listen, okay? I'm saying Garg Mech is overrated, not that it's bad. I still think it's tier 1, okay? Okay? So stop saying I think Garg Mech is bad. I just think Garg Mech is not as good as people say, okay? There, I finally made my opinion, and I'm not gonna say it again. It's just not reliable enough to, like, high roll this combo, and I just really hate when you break with Garg Mech, like, so many of the times, like, especially, like, when you're having an aggressive opener, and then you just freaking top deck Raph or top deck Gas Giant, like, it's just painful, man. It's just painful. So yeah. So next on the list, it's going to be Burst Martin. So I'm putting Burst Martin in the high tier 1 deck after Garg Mech because it's just it's a very, very solid deck that you can play high health minions that your opponent cannot remove off the board, and then you're gonna be able to make good trades because you have the best removal in the game, plus the best strat in the game, the best tempo in the game, plus the best removal in the game on the plant side. You got the Kabloom removal plus Guardian package, which, you know, Guardian package is the best tempo, you know, best tempo in the game, and Kabloom, you know, removal is the best removal for the plant side, which just makes Burst Martin probably the most reliable plant deck in the game because, you know, you can relentlessly place high health minions that your opponent is not going to be able to remove, and it's just very, very good. And of course you got Barton Roots, which it's on the tier list, but I think Barton Roots is probably better than Burst Martin, but it'll just be in the same slot. It's probably still worse than Garg Mech, and, you know, better than the next deck that we're going to be talking about, which is going to be easily the second best plant deck. Is easily going to be Comboss. This is easily the second best plant deck in the game. I mean, it's freaking Casting Combustible. I don't know, man. It shouldn't exist. Dude, Comboss should not exist. Like, it's so freaking stupid. Whenever Comboss happens, it's so dumb. It's just a really, really stupid deck that you can't counter. Like there's no way to counter freaking Comboss, and it's like so. I don't know. It's just it's way too good. It's way too good. Like, it's not illegal. It should not be illegal in this game. How you just stick a repeat moss and then you just, oh yeah, it's Captain CC sake plus time to shine easy, 18 damage through your face. Like, you can't even stop it. Like, it's impossible to stop because you're gonna have to place grapes in, like, all 4 lanes, or you're gonna have to run stupid bonus track Bucket Boy, which sucks against anything but repeat moss. So I don't know. It's just too good. It's just too good. Yeah, I'll put it like this. I mean, Comboss is just like, like it's so stupid. I don't even know. It's ridiculously stupid. I might even consider it being better than Burst Martin, but Burst Martin just got the better tempo tools. Like it's just more reliable to run Burst Martin, just because you got the good tempo tools. You know, like Freenut, Garlic, Trika. So yeah. The next deck on the list, it's going to be Freemid. Freemid. I'm putting Freemid right here, because I think Freemid is actually really strong in the meta right now, especially because you're running Forget Me Nuts. Because the fact you're running Forget Me Nuts instead of Galactic Cactus really, like, leverages the deck above the other decks that, you know, it counters DB a lot more because it has a very good chance against Crazy. And one notable thing about Freemid is that it is actually favored into Teleimps, which is an interesting fact, but Freemid is actually favored into Teleimps. You know, it might sound weird that Freemid is favored into Teleimps, but once you start thinking about it, you have Hammer and Hot Date in the same deck, which just makes it so much easier against Teleimps that you can just remove the TPZ off the board, remove the Commander off the board, and remove the Toxic Waste off the board easily with both Hot Date and Hammer, which is one of the, you know, very underrated cards is Hammer, and it's actually interesting that Hammer is really good in Freemid, and especially you're running the Guardian package. Of course, I don't need to explain how like the Freemid package works, but Forget-Me-Nots does control the crazy decks a lot very well, and then you got the Hot Dates and the Hammers to control Teleimps. I think it's just very top tier. It's probably not better than Comboss, just because Comboss a little bit too broken, but Freemid solid high tier 1. Okay, next deck. I'm going to put Ringzilla below Freemid here. So the reason why I'm putting Ringzilla below Freemid, just because Ringzilla has fallen off in the meta kind of because of the amount of crazy removal in the game, which kind of makes Ringzilla as like early game kind of Monka in a sense. It's still very good when you get rings. One problem with Ringzilla is that you just don't get rings, like you lose now, okay? Great. Like you don't get rings against certain matchups, you just lose, which is kind of a problem. But you know, you got a lot of things to help you get that rings in this deck, and it is really, I don't know, like Ringzilla not reliable enough to be better than Freemid or Comboss, just because like you're relying on drawing the rings in quite a lot of these crazy matchups, and if you just don't get it, you're not going to be able to win, and it just kind of sucky. And unfortunately, it's gotta be low tier 1 right here, below Freemid. It used to be one of the best decks in the game, because people weren't running crazy enough, and just, you know, the early game of Ringzilla is just not that poggers against crazy. I mean, like the late game with the tempo, the tempo range in the late game is just insane. So it's definitely worth staying in tier 1. Definitely not as high as the other tier 1 decks nowadays, but yeah, solid high tier 1. But yeah. So the next deck, I'm actually gonna have to think about this for a sec. I am not sure what the next deck I should put inside of this tier list is. I'm not sure what the next tier 1 deck should be. I'm thinking about Mission Control. I don't know. Mission Control. I have to think this for a second, guys. Don't know. Man, this is gonna be a rough one to put. What to put below Ringzilla here? Man. I don't know, man. I think I'll put Mission Control below. Yeah, I'll put Mission Control below Ringzilla, I think. And I'll explain why I think Mission Control is better than the other decks. So why Mission Control here? Because Mission Control, although the control aspect of the deck is very strong, it is probably the best control deck in the game. Just because you're able to have like these reliable, like beastly early game like counters to your opponent. Yeah, reliably setting up your tempo with your early game minions like Dogwalker, Botanist, Cyborg, and you're really reliably able to slowly creep up that tempo, and you're able to control your opponents pretty well with this deck, especially because you got crazy removal. That's really nice, and especially you have Botanist and just, you know, Extinction Event. It just like clogs your lanes so well, and then if you want to do something else, you can just use Barrel Mission. You know, it's very reliable. But one problem I have with Mission Control that's holding me from putting it higher in the tier list, it's definitely because of the fact that it loses really badly to itself a lot of the times, because when you just don't draw Maniacal, you can't win with Mission Control if you just don't draw that Maniacal Laugh, which is a huge problem. And I found out that like not drawing Maniacal is the biggest reason of losing with Mission Control, because you only have 3x Maniacal in the deck, and you really just rely on that high roll Maniacal so hard, and it's so frustrating when you just don't get that Maniacal for the finish with Mission Control. And of course you got Interstellar Bounty Hunter in the deck to help you get it, but it's just not reliable enough because your opponent can, like, you know, counter it. And like I have a Mission Control game skill like turn 15 because I'm not getting Maniacal until turn 15 to win the game, because your opponent just keeps chump blocking your minions and you can never win the game. So that's one problem I have with Mission Control that's holding me from putting it in a higher tier. I can see why you don't want to run 4 Maniacals, because you're going to be able to break them a lot, but the number one reason of you losing with Mission Control definitely is not drawing Maniacal Laugh, which is the biggest holdback for Mission Control. Alright, next deck. So the next deck I'm probably put up here is actually probably questionable, but I think it's correct. It's going to be Package Professor Brainstorm. So why am I putting Package PBS under Mission Control and all the other decks are not worth it? Because I think Package is just like really strong, especially that Garg for him. We played it like not yesterday, like 2 days ago on stream. They're freaking Professor Package absolutely wrecked like every one of our opponents except for that one person who was using Mirror Nut, and it's just so strong because you have the option of choosing. You can choose to teleport your minions in or not, and you can choose to not teleport your minions in and just go wide on making your tempo plays. Like, it's such a strong tempo deck because you can choose between teleporting or not teleporting. You know, you don't have to just teleport it in because you can go very fast by just using the package. And you don't have to use the teleport, which is a great thing. And then you can save your teleports for the Garg throwing imps, and then the Garg throwing imps get so much value because against DB, your opponents are just gonna be chump blocking all your minions with team ups and stuff like that. Especially against Garlic, this deck is like it just makes Garlic such a huge liability. Especially because if you double up on a lane, you know that Garg Ring is coming, and Garg Ring has got so much value from teleporting it, being teleported in, because you can just teleport in front of a minion, block like 7 damage from like a Picanolith or something like that, and then it just throws another Garg to attack in a later lane and just win the game. It's so strong with teleport. Garg Ring is seriously so strong with teleport, and I'll just put it in the solid low tier 1. It's not as high as like the other tier 1 decks, because Teleimps definitely better because you're able to control your opponents reliably, establish your own tempo reliably, and it really. I'll just put it in high tier 1 right here. Okay, so the next deck I'm gonna be putting inside of tier 1. Tier 1 is going to be where is Burn Package? There it is. So it's gonna be Electric Boogaloo Burn Package that I'm gonna be putting in tier 1 next. So the reason why I'm gonna be putting Burn Package in in the low tier 1 below Professor Package, I say they're really similar in terms of strength. I'm not sure which one is better though, because you do have a lot of progression with Package Boog. But one problem I have with Package Boog, and that's holding it back from being better than like Package or Mission Control, it is honestly because that you run out of steam way too fast with Boogaloo Package, and because the curve is so low with Boogaloo Package, it's really frustrating when it's so easy to run out of cards with Package Boog, and honestly, like, your opponent can probably play around your cards pretty well, like, especially because this deck does not like do that great in like free nut decks as far as I'm aware, because like because your only thing that is really helping you break through is Area 22 in your tricks, and really like if like Barton would just easily be able to beat Package Boog pretty nicely, and unfortunately it's just not got enough late game to like really hold itself in the late game kind of like scenario. And you're running Swimmer, which I don't like the two Swimmers in the deck honestly, because like you rely like Swimmers just break a lot in Package Boog, because you're gonna have to wait until your Richard Simmons goes like at least once to use it, and it really becomes kind of a liability. Although it opens up Water Lane, like it's kind of anti-synergy with the fact that it doesn't like use the Area 22. So you probably want to have another late game card. I don't know. I seen Happy Stream like use like binary stars with like Burn Package, which I think should work fine, but I'm not sure. But I'll put him in high tier, not high tier 1, low tier 1. So the next deck I'm gonna be putting, is it the next deck or the last deck? Yeah, okay, the last deck I'm putting in tier 1. The last deck in tier 1. I'm sorry, Tryhard, but I have to do it. I'm sorry, but I have to do it. The last deck I'm putting in tier 1 is going to be Savage Cucumber, and the reason why I'm putting Savage Cucumber inside of and the lowest of low tier 1s is so borderline high tier 2, by the way, and is because I just think that like Savage Cucumber, man, like the amount of tempo you're able to establish on the board, like I don't know how to explain this deck, but statistically it is the best Grass Knuckles deck. It is statistically a tier 1 deck, and it performs so well for I don't even know why. You got Double Min, Captain Cucumber. I don't know how, but it just is tier 1. I don't know. Ask Sushi. It just performs so well. You know, guys, I'm sorry. I'm brainwashed, okay? Sorry, brainwashed, okay? Apologizing to Tryhard right now. Apologies. Okay, apologizing to try hard right now. Sorry for putting Savage Cucumber in tier 1. Okay. Next, in the high tier 2 category, the first one I'm gonna put is Super Brains Teleimps. So reason why I'm putting HG Teleimps in like the highest tier 1 and I'm putting Super Brains in the high tier 2, because like Super Brains power is just so bad. Super Brains powers are just so bad compared to HG. Like one of the biggest differences of Super Brains Teleimps to HG Teleimps is that you're not running Neutron Imp, and Neutron Imp is seriously really great in HG Teleimps because it synergizes with the free environments you have as your superpowers, and it just allows you to play much more easily in the early game. And HG Teleimps offers so much more control over your opponent in the early game because you're able to establish a much bigger field with the Neutron Imp, since it's going to be doing this bonus attacks against your opponent, and it's just seriously like HG Teleimps has got so much better synergy, and Super Brains power is like deadly. Like I don't like having deadly with Super Brains anyways, because like usually you're only really using deadly with the teleportation zombie, which is kind of making like situational because you got toxic waste them anyways already. And you also have like carried away. Like I can see why carried away would be better because of Blob, but I don't see the argument because I would just use Ice Moon instead. Like Ice Moon would do the same thing. So I don't see the argument in why Super Brains Stick would really make a huge difference, especially because like a regular Lure for Lunch just costs 1 more. So I don't know. Like activating the Blob combo 1 turn earlier, is it really that big of an advantage? Probably not. And you're running Leprechaun Imp, which is just unoptimal for sure. And I definitely like HG Teleimps a lot more because of the fact you're able to run Neutron Imp to control your opponent early on, and you have Ice Moon, which is so nice just to have like Ice Moon to like freeze your opponent's minions for 1 turn, and then it having Strike Fruit the next turn immediately, which is synergetic with Commander, synergetic with Blob, and it's just really nice to have the synergy with Neutron. I'm gonna stop stop shilling for Neutron Imp now, okay? Okay, stop simping for Neutron Imp. Okay, next is going to be Barrelster. So I'm moving Barrelster from tier 1 down to high tier 2. So I used to make a, so I did make a tier list like a week ago, and I put Barrelster in tier 1. Sorry, I changed my mind. I'm putting Barrelster in high tier 2, below Super Brains Teleimps. The reason why I'm putting Barrelster below in the high tier 2 below Super Brains Teleimps is just because like Barrelster is so freaking high roll. Barrelster is so freaking high roll, and you're relying on drawing Trickster early on in the game, and it's so annoying when you just don't get Trickster. The deck loses to itself more than anything else, okay? Okay, 90% of the reasons why you lose a Barrelster is just because that you don't draw Trickster. 90% of the time you lose it with Barrelster is because you don't draw Trickster. And then you just lose, like, yay, I draw Trickster on my turn 7, now I lose. which is just so annoying. I mean, it might just because of my experience, but it might be because I low roll with Barrelster a lot, so that makes me think that it's high tier 2. I don't know. Like, I'm one of the players who consistently do not draw Trickster by turn 4. So I don't know. I'm just one of the players who are consistently not drawing Trickster until turn 4. It's just too high rolly for me, honestly. I'm putting it in high tier 2. I'm putting it in high tier 2. It's not great, man. Barrelster is just not it. It's just not it, man. It's just not it. Okay, the next deck I'm gonna put in high tier 2. Surprising, but I'm putting red in the next high tier 2. So the reason why I'm putting red right here is because like it's very solid deck against most of the crazy decks on the zombie side, and Red Planet Burst is just incredible. And I'm saying, and I'll have an explanation why this is better than Ramp Midrose, because like you're able to establish so much more tempo on the board with red every single turn, because you're able to play Forget Me Nots, you're able to play the Black IP, and then you're able to control your opponent really well until you can get your Freemid combo in. You're running the great like anti-trick arsenal, and this is meta right now. It's very trick heavy. So I think red is just really good in the meta because of what people are running, not because of all the other DB decks. Okay, you can't just say all the other DB decks. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm basing this off of like how I'm gonna play this in Elo. Okay, I'm talking about how good this deck is probably gonna be in Elo ladder, and red is probably high up there, just because you know so many people that play Garg Mech and just get countered by red. And I'll put it in high tier 2. Solid high tier 2. Alright. Next on the list, I'm putting Ramp Mid-Rose in the next high tier 2 deck. It is such a very solid deck that you're able to play mid-range or you can play ramp. So which is a really interesting thing about Ramp Mid-Rose is that you're able to like get a Cob Cannon in pretty early and you can go to Astrocado early. So reason why I'm putting this in high tier 2 instead of like tier 1 supposedly it's because it's just not it against some of the crazy decks. Like some of the crazy control decks just wreck Mid-Rose kind of, but Mid-Rose is really good against like the other like non-crazy decks. But I mean, it's just don't know. No, I'm still debating on whether I should change the order right here with Ramp Mid-Rose. Don't know. I'm putting it right here in high tier 2 just because you get able to ramp to your Astrocado, and then. But one major thing I found out about Ramp Mid-Rose, I've been playing Ramp Mid-Rose a lot off stream actually, like around like 20 games. One thing I found out is that Rescue Radish is actually Rescue Radish is actually one of the biggest liabilities of Ramp Mid-Rose because you don't want to get Rescue Radish when you're ramping to like your Astrocados and your Cob Cannons. It's just kind of frustrating when you get Rescue Radish because bricks a little bit too hard when you play Ramp Mid-Rose, especially because you want to keep ramping, and it's just kind of annoying when you just have to bounce like Twin Sunflower to make your Rescue Radish play, and it's kind of the biggest liability of Ramp Mid-Rose in my opinion, just because like because you're running the Rescue Radish, like it kind of anti-synergizes with the sort of kind of like the Astrocados and Cob Cannons you're placing on the board, and just breaks your hand. So I just personally do not like the aspect of how brick it is, and it is weak against like Gravestone decks, especially because you're not running Gravestone counters at all now. Since we're running Violet and not Snapdragon, and especially not running Grave Flick anymore, it's definitely going to be a significantly like worse against like Lockout, which is definitely one of the more problematic decks for Mid-Rose to already deal with. So you're basically making your matchup against like the other crazy decks better, but then you're making your matchup against like Lockout and Neptune Plane Control a lot worse. So I'm putting Mid-Rose in high tier 2. Yeah, I'll put it right there. Alright. Oh my gosh. I'm losing my breath for speaking so much. Wait, I need a little bit of a break real quick. Man, okay, speaking so much. Rambling for so long. Okay, my gosh. Cool. Calm down a little bit. Calm down a little bit. Okay. Okay. The next deck. Okay. Calm down. Okay. Okay, so the next deck I'm going to be putting in high tier 2 is going to be Ram Clones. And the reason I'm putting Ram Clones is just because like Ram Clones is so so strong against like the crazy decks. Like it's so strong and like against most of the crazy decks, which is like one of the best things. Like the crazy meta, Ram Clones is actually really good in the crazy meta. One thing that's really holding Ram Clones back, definitely Extinction Event and Beastly class are holding back Ram Clones. Which is one of the biggest liabilities of Ram Clones, to be honest, is the Beastly class, because like Beastly class just counters like Ram Clones way too good. Because every single Beastly deck is just running Extinction Event, and it's just not it when you get countered by those, like, man. And plus, I've actually done a little bit of testing with Camper, and it feels like it's kind of weak against Teleimps as well, because funny thing is that like Pineclone does actually get countered by Inferium quite a little bit, which is kind of a problem, and you're really relying on the high roll into the Pineclone combo, or else you kind of can't win the game otherwise, except for using Elderberry and Astrocados. Then you just get like Fruitcake or Backup Balanced or any kind of removal, and just gonna kill your Elderberries or Astrocados. Then it's just not efficient enough to win a game, and you're relying on that Pineclone high roll a little bit too much, in my opinion, to make this like better than like Red or the other high tier 2 decks. It's just my opinion. It's my subjective view on my experience of playing this deck. It's definitely not the whole representation of how you play this deck, but that's just my opinion. I'm putting this on below Ramp Mid-Rose. So next, the next deck I'm actually going to be putting on high tier 2 is going to be... Wait, I forgot which one. I had this planned out. Whoops. Okay, there it is. The next one I'm going to be putting is Cybro. The new Cybro is significantly better than the old Cybro, and I played the new Cybro and it's actually dirty. Like, Burstron is so freaking strong with the new Cybro. I love the new Cybro just because he got like this really nice mid-range. He got really good aggression, and then you got really good mid-range, and then you got this really nice late game finisher that you can just get an Astro Shroom plus Planet of the Grapes combo. It's still cycle cap, but it's just better. For those who are watching on YouTube who don't know what Cybro is, it's basically a cycle cap, but is Reddit Discord version, and it's just really nice to have like that buff shroom, just to like buff all your shrooms up, and you're able to finish off your opponent really nicely with that gloom in the end to evolve under their mushrooms, and it's just real nice. Solid high tier 2 deck. Next on the list is going to be the next one is going to be Lockout. Lockout, I'm really not sure on whether this was correct or not by putting Lockout below Cybro. Because I think Lockout is a little bit worse than Cybro in the meta right now. Because like Lockout just struggles a lot against like aggressive matchups, especially like A-Beans, Cybro. Like these like wreck Lockout quite a little bit. And it does not that great against Savage Cucumber, and it's just not that great against a lot of decks overall. The best matchup that he has is going to be Mid-Rose, in my opinion, probably. But it's just really not that good of a counter to like most of the tier 1 plant decks. Like look, you got Burst Martin, which is not countered by Lockout for sure, because you're running Pogo Mug against Freemid. That's not good. And then you're running Lockout versus Combos, and Verdurni. I'm referencing Verdurni. I don't know why I'm referencing Verdurni, but apparently Combos is supposed to have my favorite matchup against Lockout. And then we also have Freemid, which Lockout is bad against again because running Pogo Mug into Freenut. And then against Ringzilla, it's bad again because you're bouncing off like the 0 cost 4/4s. So it's literally bad against all the tier 1 plant decks. So I don't know. I don't know if putting Lockout this high in tier 2 is really that correct. It just is not that great, honestly. I'll just put it right there. Oh, let's put it right there. Alright, next on the list is A-Beans. And not low tier 2, A-Beans. So A-Beans is a very underrated deck in my opinion. And I should actually probably put I should probably put A-Beans above Lockout actually. Should I? Should I put A-Beans above Lockout actually? Should I actually put A-Beans above Lockout? Probably. I'm actually thinking about this. I'll actually probably put A-Beans above Lockout right here. I think I'm gonna put A-Beans above Lockout. Yeah, I'm gonna put A-Beans above Lockout actually. I changed my mind. So the reason why I think A-Beans is better than Lockout now is just because like the A-Beans is a very underrated deck in terms of its strength, and in my opinion, A-Beans is one of the stronger plant decks, and it's really good on the aggression side because especially like against a lot of decks, A-Beans is able to reliably rush down their opponents using the Click Piece, Pempo, like the Click Bee High Roll, or you can just use Llama and Emerald Navy Bean. It's just so very strong because the whole deck just holds together as like a very strong aggro / tempo deck, and you're able to finish off your opponents real quick. And the Jelly Bean is the especially strong part about A-Beans is that you can just place a Jelly Bean on top of your like one of your small beans, and you're just bouncing them whole play off the field, which denies Cowboy completely, and denies like a lot of things just completely and screw up their whole plays like insanely well. And plus you're running a lot of high value cards. Like B-Rex and Gatling. The one reason why I'm not putting it as high as Cybro is because it's like not as good as Cybro into like the crazy decks, because like because A-Beans does get farmed by Barrel Mission quite a lot, but it's not really that big of a deal if you're running if you're just mulliganing for like Black Eyed Peas and Click Bee starting hands against crazy heroes. But that's basically it, right? Putting A-Beans in the high tier 2 above Lockout. And you're probably not, and you probably don't want Zephs. And okay, like against crazy heroes, you just mulligan for like the Click Bee High Roll and the Black Eyed Peas, and like the other cards are good against crazy. Instead of going for the Emerald Navy Bean strat, which is not that great against, which is not good against crazy against Barrel Mission. So yeah. And plus, another good thing about A-Beans is that you're able to stack up a lot of damage to the water using your Grow Shroom, which is actually an interesting use of Grow Shroom, because Grow Shroom is not really that great in the meta right now, especially it's outclassed by a lot of other cards. So I'm putting it solid high tier 2. Solid high tier 2. Alright, next on the list, let me check my thing. Okay, the next on the tier list is going to be Binary 22. Binary 22 is basically just a worse version of Package Burn, but you're using Binary Stars and Headhunter. So one reason why I'm putting Binary 22 below all of these decks is just because Headhunter is just not a good card. I have not found a good I have not really found it that great to use Binary 22 because like Headhunter is just not like just not it. It's kind of Headhunter is just a little bit too slow, to be honest. Because if you're playing Headhunter, it just lets your opponent set up a free nut combo to kill it immediately, which is kind of bad. Like they just do free nut and then walnut, that's dead. Like they get like a free nut on the board and a walnut, free walnut left in the field. Like it's just not it. Even if you evolve it, it's no. It's just worse package boog. It's just outclassed by many things. It's just a package boog that's just outclassed by which is outclassed by the new burn package. So I'm putting it in high tier 2 right here. Definitely lower tier than before comparatively to the other decks, because especially of the new decks being introduced on the plant meta, especially it's not that great against Savage Cuke. So it's one thing to be taken note of. And yeah, the next deck is gonna be Coffee Free Rings. So Coffee Free Rings is actually one of the bottom high tier 2 decks nowadays. It used to be like one of the best plant decks in the game. I think it used to be tier 1, and it used to be high tier 2, and now it's bottom of high tier 2. So the one thing about like Coffee Free Rings is that it kind of, I don't know how to describe this, but Coffee Free Rings has just been progressively getting worse and worse in the meta. It's just been progressively getting worse and worse in the meta when new DB decks are getting added into the game, just because of the new style of DB decks just counter Coffee Rings kind of a little bit too much, and Coffee Rings is not it. Coffee Rings is not it. And Coffee Rings is just not it in the meta right now, unfortunately. And I like to play since a higher tier, like close to red, but it's just not that great. It's crazy. It's not. It absolutely gets slaughtered by Teleimps, of course, because if you're running any Grass Knuckles deck, it's always gonna get slaughtered by Teleimps, and it's not gonna. It's not really good against anything. It is just good tempo, and you know it's just. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but it's just not it. It's just not it. Plus, you're running anti-synergy with like rings with free nut, which is kind of anti-synergy actually, because you're putting your rings first. You're putting your rings and then you put a free nut. It's kind of anti-synergy. I've actually had that situation happen a couple of times, which is kind of unfortunate. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna place Coffee Rings down all the way here in the bottom of high tier 2. So the next deck I'm gonna be rating is gonna be. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to rate this deck. I don't know why. Actually, nah. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna make a controversial opinion right here, but I think Pagaratti deserves to be in the high tier 2 category. You can argue he's probably low tier 2, but very, very controversial. I'm putting Pagaratti below Coffee Free Rings right here. Pagaratti has a great matchup against any like non-DB deck, I suppose. Like against like the non-DB kind of like kind of sense. I'm talking about against in Elo again, because a lot of people don't run DB in Elo, especially like. And one thing about Pagaratti is just insanely good against like all the non-DB decks, but it's kind of bad against like all the actual DB decks, just because like the Pagaratti, like it's very, very reliable drawing your combo before turn 7 and finishing off your opponent by then to win the game. But it's just a little bit too slow, like against like it's a little bit too slow, not a little bit too slow, it's way too slow against most of the actual DB decks. But I'm putting it in high tier 2 just in honor because of its strength against like non-DP, because we're talking about in Elo ladder in general, not just versus DB. And if you think that you're only gonna be versing DB in a tournament, I'm sorry, but that's not gonna happen. like that's just not gonna happen, man. Like if you're assuming that you're only versing DB in a tournament, like man, you're kind of a little bit too foolish to think about that. But because a lot of people don't use DB in the tournaments and they get really high, like Turtwig, Egma, like all these people, like Joel doesn't use DB as well, and Joel doesn't use DB quite a lot as well, and Pagaratti is just great tech against any non-DB style deck, and because they're kind of going greedy, and you're really able to go wide with Pagaratti in the later on towards the game, just because like you're able to counter like all these non-DB decks really well, and it's definitely the best deck on ladder. If this was against ranked, by the way, Pagaratti would be the best deck in the game. If this was against rank, Pagaratti would definitely be number 1, by the way, because it just absolutely shreds all the ladder style decks like heal, freeze. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, if you want to absolutely crush heal decks or crush freeze decks, use Pagaratti, because Pagaratti gets it done definitely, and it's an auto win basically against heal and freeze decks. It's just like, oh, you know, just giving some like, you know, orgasms right now. So yeah, it's just strong against all the non-DB, and it's high tier 2. Okay, the next one I'm going to put in high tier 2 is going to be... Why? Why does this deck even exist in DB? It's just outclassed by freaking Freemid. You know what? I'm not even going to rate it. I'm just going to put it in the deck that will be excluded. Because I hate it. Because I hate the deck. Just because I hate the deck, I'm just going to put it in right here. I don't know. Just because I hate Mirror, I'm just gonna put it in the decks I'll not be rating. It's just... Man, why? Why does this deck exist, man? It's high tier 2, I know, but it shouldn't exist. Man. I don't have an opinion on Mid-Mirror, honestly. Wait, still haven't rated Splimps? Oh, whoops. Wait, did I exclude Splimps? Wait, oh, whoops. I'll be excluding Splimps as well because no one runs that. So that'll be excluded in the tier list as well. I forgot Splimps was a thing because no one plays this deck either. Wait, okay, listen. I'll give an explanation why I'm not putting Mid-Mirror and Splimps in the tier list. Okay, Mid-Mirror and Splimps are just straight up outclassed by Barrel Pirates and Freemid respectively. Okay, no, it's just no. 0 people use these decks. Okay, like almost like 0% of players on Elo use Mid-Mirror or Splimps. It's just not it, and you're never going to expect them because they're just outclassed straight up by the better tier 1 decks, okay? And I'm not going to include them in the tier list because no one plays them, and I don't know how to play them, and I've never played them because they're just outclassed. So there you go. There's the Splimps and Mid-Mirror out of the way. So yeah, there you go. You have it. Next, I'm going to be putting next one is gonna be Funny Knight. Funny Knight is the next high tier 2 deck. It is actually really reliable, especially against Garg Mech. And if Garg Mech does not have removal for your Twin Sunflower or Sunny Mushroom, and you have like if you're able to stall into your funny combo against Garg Mech, you've auto won because Garg Mech has 0 ways of dealing with a funny combo, and which is the strength of this because against DB against Elo. One of the main reasons why Funny Knight is so strong is like against like on Elo against DB is especially because zombie decks don't run environments. The crazy zombie decks don't run environments. Like you know, the Barrel Pirates doesn't run environment, and Garg Mech also doesn't run environments, which is a huge blunder when you're going against Funny Knight because you're running Force Field, and if you're just putting a Self Patch in there, like once they pull off the funny combo with Funny Knight, which is pretty plausible because you're running the Primal Potato Mines and all that kind of, you know, like plane control, and it's the only good plane control deck in the game. Unfortunately, it's Funny Knight. So yeah, just because of people not running environments in their decks, Funny Knight is right here. If people actually run environments, it'll probably be like low tier 2. So so it's not that great if your opponent's actually running environment. Plane control is just Monka, regardless. So yeah. All right, next deck. I'm putting Aggro Wall Knight in high tier 2 right here. Aggro Wall Knight, very solid aggro deck. I've played it a lot, like before, but it's just outclassed by like basically everything, and no one plays Aggro Wall Knight anymore because it's just, you know, outclassed by everything else. It's just outclassed by everything else, and everything else that Wall Knight offers, like Freemid. You would just run Freemid instead of Aggro Wall Knight. It just, you know, and I don't know. No one runs this deck. Honestly, I probably shouldn't rate this deck even way. Yeah, either way, I probably shouldn't rate this deck either because no one plays it. I probably shouldn't rate the deck either because no one plays the deck either. And 0 people play that deck either. Why am I including this? No one plays this deck. No one plays this deck. I can't rate it. If it's just not it. It's just outclassed. It probably shouldn't count. Nah, it probably shouldn't count. Okay. You know what? Just for the sake of it, I'm putting Aggro out in the deck that I'll be excluding as well. I'm not gonna rate Aggro out. I haven't played the deck. Actually, no, I have played the deck, and the deck sucked. Okay. I played Aggro out, and then I went against like crazy like 4 times, and then the barrel mission just cleared my board like 4 times. Like, freaking hell! It's so bad. This deck is not good. Why? Just why? Just why is the deck even in DB anymore? This deck should have been deleted from DB like a long time ago. Okay, got that out of the way. Oh yeah, I'm putting Cybro in the deck I'll be excluding as well, because this deck, why is Cybro still in DB as well? I don't understand. Like, all these like stupid, like mid-mirror, splimps, aggro all night, aggro spit out, and aggro and Cybro. All 5 of these decks should be deleted from DB right now. They're just pointless to be in DB. Is that aggro or token aggro? That's token aggro. So my recommendation is that to delete mid-mirror, splimps, aggro all night, token aggro, and Cybro from DB, because they're absolutely just outclassed by every single thing else, and there's no reason to run them. There's no reason to run them over the other decks. And maybe I guess I could just say the same thing for old mid rows, because it's also outclassed by ramp mid rows by a large margin. So I'll just put mid rows here as a deck that you should probably get rid of anyways. But anyways, we'll be returning right now to the actual good decks. So Plane Control, I'll be putting in high tier 2. Is the last deck I'll be putting in high. No, the last zombie deck I'll put in high tier 2. I didn't know. Yeah, no, it's the last deck I'll be putting in high tier 2. Plane Control is definitely one of the stronger decks. People underestimate it a lot, but it's actually really strong considering the fact that you got like the good sneaky tempo cards like the Kogo Mug and Slime Dancing Zombie, and you got the good the good hardy tempo cards as well, like the Sumo. I know it's a control deck, but you know, Plane Control is kind of more tempo than control than like Barrelster, for say, because you're putting a lot of minions on the board with like Rapestones and you're doing a Mug, and yeah, so putting Plane Control in high tier 2, last deck in high tier 2. So next up on the list, okay, so it's gonna be Burstron. Unfortunately, Burstron is still low tier 2 because this deck still hasn't gotten an update. Where is Joa Burst gone? Come on, man. I would like to put this in high tier 2 because of Joa Burst, but no, they just gotta keep the shit version in DB. They just have to keep the shit version, the fucking Corn Dog with the fucking Grit Stinger. Come on, man. And the fucking Snapdragon. I know. Stupid. Why? Just why? And because it's referencing to the stupid Red Stinger and the Corn Dog shit, I'm putting it in low tier 2. The garbage. Come on, man. This would go in high tier 2 if this was Joa Burst with the Triceratops and the Great Responsibility. So yeah, there you go. Unfortunately, I'm putting this right here because it's just not it. Just not it. So next one, it's gonna be Trick Mech. The Trick Mech is gonna be one of the low tier 2 decks. Unfortunately, it's fallen off in the meta quite a lot because, you know, like getting controlled. If you get controlled by like turn 1, 2, 3, and you're just done. like basically all the plane decks controlled for the first couple of turns. Like they just have like maybe except Ringzilla is able to control Trick Mech, but Burst Martin definitely able to control Trick Mech. Comboss definitely able to control Trick Mech. Freemid definitely gonna be able to control Trick Mech for Gaming Nuts. And then like all the other decks, yeah, you know, Trick Mech is just a little bit too weak in the meta just because like all the top tier plane decks do counter it quite a lot because you got a lot of good early game control. Against Trick Mech, you just have to like run a lot of Trick Mech tech cards to beat it pretty easily. And so yeah, I'm putting it in low tier 2. I mean, it's still arguably a good deck, just because like against like piles, it's still pretty nice against piles. Like I guess it's like around maybe I'll put Pagaratti in low tier 2 as well. I don't know, but it's kind of similar to Pagaratti where it's only good on ladder, but Pagaratti is even more reliable on ladder in my opinion, just because like you're able to solve a time against like these ladder style decks, and then you're just able to overrun them really nicely, and it's more reliable to run Pagaratti on ladder in my opinion than Trick Mech. Like Trick Mech might be the second best deck on ladder, but that's about it for the applications of Trick Mech. Now we're moving on to the bad decks. Now we're moving on to the bad decks. You have Cybro Tempo. My gosh. This deck is so scuffed. You know, Cybro Tempo, when you get the science cards that you need, like your Maniacal plus your Gadget, it's good. You know, when you draw the cards that you want, and then you get your combo in with the Gadget Scientist, it's good. Like, you put in a Maniacal Laugh on your Teleportation Zombie, and then you do Gadget Scientist immediately next turn, and you just finish them off. You know, that's good. But the deck freaking loses to itself more than anything, okay? The deck just like, oh, we don't draw Maniacal and you don't draw a combo, you lose the game, okay? Come on, man. It's just not it. It's just not it. It's Immorticia's only deck. No, it isn't. Igmaticia exists, but it's not on this tier list because Igmaticia will go in high tier 2. Like the bottom of high tier 2. Probably above Plane Control and below Funny Night. But it's Simor Tempo. It's just not it. Definitely not it. It's very, very weak. And the last one of low tier 2, Shit Pirates, as I like to call it. As I like to call it, I like to call this deck the Shit Pirates because you're running the freaking garbage cards. Man, the funniest joke I like to make of Aggro Pirates, Brain Freeze Pirates is that when people in August 2020 told me that Imposter was a better aggro card than Grave Robber, okay? This was what I'm getting when I was in August 2020. Come on, man. I just wanna point out that people in August 2020 were bullying me for saying, because when I was saying Grave Robber is better than Imposter, and it was like, yeah, Imposter is a better aggro card than Grave Robber, okay? Come on, man. I just like to call it Shit Pirates. You're running fucking Ice Pirate? Why? Why are you running Ice Pirates? It's so bad. The whole deck is just not good. The whole deck is just running a lot of low value cards, and you add Flame Phase, and guys, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. No, it's not. It's not a good deck. Player removal. Do I even need to explain why this deck is not that great? It's literally a budget deck. No, it's not. Why is this deck still not removed? I don't get it. This deck should also be removed from DB because this deck should get removed from DB as well because freaking burn package exists. Why is this deck still? I don't understand. I don't understand. Why is player removal still in DB? I'm just asking this. Burn package outclasses about like 10 miles. How? Why is it still in DB? Burn package literally just outclasses it. I don't understand. Player removal removed all the players. My gosh. Yeah. Player removal removed all the players. The player removal. You understand what it means? Because player removal is so bad, it just removed all the player removal players. LMAO. My gosh, that's so funny. That's a nice one. Player removal was so bad, it got removed by all the players. It removed all the players of playing it. My gosh, that's so good. That's so good. My gosh, I love that. I love that. I need to put that down. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's gonna be it for the PvZ Heroes database deck tier list from my perspective of what I think is the best DP decks in the game. I'm like these 7 decks. Like I suggest these to be deleted from DB because 0 people use these decks anymore. Okay, who uses player removal in Elo? Who uses mid-rose and Elo? Who uses the old mid-rose and Elo? Who uses freaking Cybro? Who uses freaking stupid token aggro? Aggro Walnut, Splimps, mid-mirror. 0. Absolutely 0. Okay? There. Phantom Snap all these stupid DB decks because no one plays them. Okay? There. I said it. Okay? Churchwick used the old mid-rose. I don't care. Okay? There. I said it. Just use the new mid-rose. I don't understand. And that's going to be it for this tier list, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments. People are definitely going to be saying put Garg in the number 1 because Garg is so much better. Okay, you know what? You know what? In the comments below, it's definitely going to be a copy paste of me saying why Garg is overrated. You know what? In the YouTube video comments, I bet it's just going to be the Garg rant of how I say it's overrated. It's gonna be people copy pasting me the Garg of my rant of why Garg is overrated. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so funny. You shouldn't post this. Why? It's my opinion. Dislike spam. My gosh.